I'm Sandra Morania. I'm a youth activist with Amnesty International and also outgoing executive director of the Student Consortium for Human Rights Advocacy. These two organizations are the co-organizers of this debate. The debate is called the Intervarsity Human Rights Debate Championship. It's a platform that we started 5 years ago to encourage students to engage in human rights in a positive way. And so we wanted them to identify thematic issues, so it could be education, housing, torture, and have this platform to debate about it and to rally for change. And so this year, we're very happy to bring students from all over the country. They've come from Nakuru, Eldoret, Mombasa, Kisumu, and also students from Nairobi to discuss education and human rights.
How many universities are we talking about today?
We have about 43 teams. We had initially 50 teams coming from Kigali and Kampala. Unfortunately, because of the election situation, they couldn't make it,
Yes.
but they're with us in spirit. They're following us in our social media platform.
So currently we have universities from around Kenya only.
Yes.
So from Kenya only, how many made it to the debate?
I can't answer that question.
Okay. Okay.
That's
But for the purpose of this debate, we will stick to the element of early childhood education, which is the component of basic education that is within the jurisdiction of this House.
As a member of opposition, to cross-examine our Prime Minister, our leader of opposition, our Prime Minister, And first I begin by asking, why is there a perception that private institutions are better than public institutions?
There's a multiplicity of answers to that question, one of which could be that the tendency before has been that those services offered by private institutions or other institutions has been expensive, and expense forges the perception of quality.
The Prime Minister stated that the perception that private institutions provide quality education is unfounded.
It could be unfounded, especially when our county has continually reached an increasing enrollment rate of 15,000
How many public ECD centers are there right now in Turkana County?
There are many, but you have to note
Therefore,
that
you are not
they
sure.
are rotating at an amount of...
Leave alone Turkana County. We have talked about accessibility. That because these institutions are going to be expensive, students are not going to be able to enter into these institutions. How is this House aware that the Ministry of Education's budgetary allocation sets aside funds to help students join private institutions?
The House is aware, but you have to know that this is the
and
county
is the House
government
also aware?
and not the National Assembly, which is the subject of which budget you were talking about.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, members of this House, my name is Valiant Wayaki, and I am the leader of opposition in the county government of Turkana. It is my pleasure to raise the awareness in this House of the real state on the ground. I'm privileged to present actual facts to our Prime Minister. Now, his thesis is that we are in this problem of privatization. The whole issue of privatization has come up, and for what? Why would we even want to discuss privatization when the county government is doing such a fantastic job of providing education? We really can't even think about it. We're wasting our time. I disagree entirely. I disagree because we know, not just from our own personal experience, but also from studies that have come out. We know that governments, like he said, have had the tendency of providing less than standard education, lower quality education. We know that the real problem, ladies and gentlemen, is that, number one, the facilities at government schools, at public run schools are below par. Number two, the syllabus taught in public schools and private schools is also below par. Number 3, that, like I have said, the government so far has been incapable of providing high quality education. Assuming that what you're saying is true, that private education, public education is absolutely above standard, is above par, is the kind of education that we want our children to get, would you be so kind as to provide us with our student-teacher ratio here in the county of Turkana?
Thank you. The county government, as well as the Minister of Education, has not given a policy statement to issue what.
So you're not sure about the statistics?
Can I respond? Has not given a standard, which, for example, 20 to 30, there is no policy made by the Minister of Education to say that this is the ideal and this is what we are doing. Because private institutions have moved to do their own. If anything, mobile institutions have the best student-teacher ratio ever. Because if you're with 5 children now, as to 1 teacher, that's good enough.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like it to be noted that that is not the question that I asked. So I didn't ask the policy statement, I asked what the current student-teacher ratio is.
As I said, it varies because they're mobile institutions.
So, for your typical mobile institution, which the government is rightly very proud of, what is the student ratio?
I'd like it to go into the record that it's impossible to get this because Turkana County is a nomadic, has nomadic people, and it changes from time to time.
With regards to the UN SDGs and the basic rights to education, education is a right and not a privilege. I agree fully, but it depends what kind of education. Accessible, available, adaptable. They have not proven that their education system, they have not proven that they have enough funds, they have not proven that they have enough structures in place to actually provide quality education. Because really, any of us here, seated here, can teach a child A, B, C, and D. But what quality of education are we talking about? Or is the government settling for meager kind of education levels?
And what is privatization of education? Privatization of education is commercializing education. And what is commercializing? What do you do when you commercialize a right that is supposed to be free under both national law and international law? When you privatize it, you make the government lazy, yet you're paying tax. You undermine the quality of the education. And also, you make it inaccessible to the poor and the marginalized. So to make it clear, privatization of education, no. Nobody got time for that. So we should all be against that.
And I had a lot of things being said, a lot of facts and alternative facts being raised during the 2 motions that were sponsored around privatization. And I think I'd just like to clarify a few things. Yes, there are a lot of private schools in informal settlements, but that doesn't actually mean that those schools are accessible. So in one of the rooms I was in, one of the debaters kept saying that there's a school called Greek International Academies and they only charge $6 a month, and wow, isn't that affordable? But if you look at the average income of a single parent in a low-income settlement, you find out that they earn less than $100 a month, right? And $6 a month is not actually the true cost of education at these schools. If you add uniform, school meals, stationery, exam fees, that is before the last piece of legislation was passed, all these things raise the cost of education to between $10 to $21.
We will start our pilot program in Kuala Lumpur City. And why have we chosen this? The case in Malaysia is that the average income is 14.6% according to the Malaysia Online. And the highest level of education obtained by all 200 respondents who were interviewed in a report by a Malaysian student from the Kuala Lumpur University is that the highest level of education obtained by all of them is primary school. 32.5% of all citizens in Malaysia have only primary school.
Gentlemen, I know I was smiling in my face because of the measures that have been put in place. It is my work, it is outside, and it is promote the spirit of this motion, that the government has the ability to set a parameter in areas that don't need help. Ladies and gentlemen, I must inform this House that the Malaysian people have 0.6% of poverty line. Our own country has 42% of people below the poverty line. Why run away from the problems in your own country and go solve a problem in another country? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring you back in Kenya. Jump, Karibu. Currently, children who are supposed to attend schools in our country, in low-income communities, have to go outside there to work, to generate income for their own families. These low-income areas are facing key challenges, and I will mention the challenges, and I will give a policy that will help solve these challenges. Kenya, as the current opposition leader has stated, we have 42% people living below poverty line, and therefore they have greater needs to the issue of completion. I have told you over 90% of students from Malaysia get into universities. In Kenya, over 300,000 students of the 600,000 do not get into universities, ladies and gentlemen. Who has the greater need in this position, ladies and gentlemen? I ask the question, who needs the skills for sustainable development? Is it Malaysians? Or is it Kenyans? 3, that all students will complete target 3 of SDG 4, will complete quality vocational and university training. I have just stated that over 300,000 of them are not getting into school, and therefore this SDG is non-existent to almost 300,000. Allow me to do a simple math. 300,000 don't go to universities, 900,000 people sit in CSC. What is that? That is a third of those who complete high school do not get vocational and technical training.
My name is Robbie Chacha. I work for Amnesty International as a program assistant for the Human Rights Education Department. In terms of the future of this debate, we're thinking of going East African in this debate. This year we were meant to have guests from Tanzania, Rwanda and Uganda, but due to the political affairs that were going on at the time, they decided to pull out last minute. But starting next year, we probably intend to have an East African teams from other East African countries, so that we have an East African context of it. I would also like to mention the fact that this debate is also meant to inform policy. We're in communication with the Ministry of Education, especially the Quality Assurance Department, in terms of the kind of arguments that come up in this debate, so that they may be able to influence.
My name is Zuleika Amin. I'm from Economic and Social Rights Center, Hakijamii. We are a national NGO that deals with economic and social rights, and the right to education, as you know, is one of the economic and social rights, and we partnered with several organizations to bring about this debate, which this year will be focusing on the right to education. And basically we sponsored the 2 motions which are on privatization of education and education in privatization of education, particularly in informal settlements. So we're just trying to let why we sponsored the motion was to let kids know, these university students, for them to actually have the idea on what privatization is. And basically privatization is not a private school per se, it's commercializing a right, commercializing the right to education, a right which under international law, under the constitutional and the national law should be free and compulsory. So that's the whole concept of privatization of education and why we are against it.
Okay.
We are an organization that is a membership organization. Amnesty International belongs to the public. It belongs to people. And we have members, we have activists, we have supporters. We have over 7.5 million people around the world that uses our research to lobby and campaign around human rights violations. I would like to invite you to become activists. That is really what we place on the table globally, worldwide. Last week, 7 human rights defenders that had been arrested and detained by the Turkish government were released because of your campaign.